I don't want you to make the same mistake I did when I bought my first home. I messed up. I'm financially savvy, right? So I am very good on keeping costs low, keeping profits high, net income high. That's my job. But actually here I made the biggest mistake. When I bought my first property, I cut corners. So I saved money up front and suffered later. And this video is a quick whistle stop list of things that I want you to not avoid and I want you to pay attention to when you're buying your first home. Now, if we've not met each other before, my name is Krystle McGilvery. I am the founder of Mind Over Money and a finance and behaviour change specialist. I have a background in accountancy. I'm a chartered accountant and I work with people like you day in, day out, supporting founders or individuals, helping them make better financial decisions and feel good about it. So let's dive into this video. Okay, this first one I didn't do because I did research this part because I am very good at being aware of the costs involved. So I know how much things are going to cost. That I do know for sure. But I have come across many people who weren't aware and didn't get ready for all the costs that are involved in buying your home. So the first tip or the first suggestion is for you to make sure you have done your research and you know exactly what you have to pay for when you buy your first home. This may be valuation fees, solicitor fees, lender fees, all of the fees that you need to pay. I urge you to make sure you do your Googling and get a long list of what they may be. What you don't want to do is spend all your money on your deposit, get the property, have the keys in your hand, which is very exciting, but then find that you have no money to pay for anything else. And that could be things like a fridge. Get very clear about what all of your costs are. When you found the property that you really want to buy, know what your compliance and legal costs are, but then also know, considering this individual property, what will you need to pay for upfront and make sure you've got the money to do so. When I bought my first property, I'll get onto this later, but as a result, I had to fork out, I think it was £3,000 for the electrics and then £3,000 for a new boiler immediately. So that's £6,000 within the first month because I didn't do what I'm going to suggest that you should do in this video. Confirmation bias. It's a bias that we all suffer from all the time. Now, the journey of finding a property that you like, you love, you feel attached to enough to spend your hard-earned cash, and we're not talking small numbers, of course, it's intense. It's very much an emotional roller coaster. But when you do find the property that you definitely are like, this is the one, I urge you to get another opinion. Get someone else in who's completely objective, who will come and look at the property with a fresh pair of eyes. If you fall in love with somewhere, it's easy for you to be victim to the confirmation bias and ignore warning signs and just pay attention to the fact that you love this property. I did that. I brought my mum in, who is a hard woman to please, and I brought her in to look at the property with fresh eyes and see if there's anything that I've missed, because I was like, is this all right? I like it, but like, I don't see a problem. Have I missed something? Am I just a bit blind to the problems in the property? So I brought her in to do that. So here I'm urging you to get someone else random completely in to have a look at the property as well. As you can imagine, I work with a range of different people. I work with people who are up to speed on their finances but are struggling to make good financial decisions, struggling to save, not able to break their bad habits. And on the other end of the scale, I work with people who don't actually understand finances and are making poor decisions because they don't know what's going on with their numbers. Now, in amongst that, of course, there are people who don't actually know what's going on with their mortgage and maybe don't actually understand the kind of mortgage they have. I've had several clients who don't understand or didn't realize they were on an interest-only mortgage and not actually paying off the loan. So let me just clarify a couple of basic things here. You could either get, for example, an interest-only mortgage, which means you're only paying the interest on the loan amount, which is what a mortgage is. So that means you're not actually clearing the debt. You're only paying the mortgage. You may have a repayment mortgage in which you are clearing the debt and you are paying the interest. And if you do any kind of researching, you will see that a repayment mortgage tends to require you to pay a higher amount every single month. And that's why, because you're actually clearing the loan. Other things to consider are also whether you have a fixed term or a variable rate mortgage. Now, this is where your interest rate is either the same every single month. So that means the payments you make will be the same every single month. Or maybe you have a variable rate where the interest rate will change every single month. Now, those things are really important to know because that's going to directly impact how much you pay every single month and your future plans for your property. And make sure the mortgage you have or you're thinking of getting ties into your personal financial plans. Now, as we're talking about things you should and shouldn't do, this one here I did not do and I suffered as a result. So me being financially savvy back then as well, I was very good at making sure I paid the least as possible for things or got as much as I could back in cash back as possible. Now, when it came to me doing my survey on my ideal property, the one I was going to buy, I decided to do the cheapest possible, which meant I paid the least amount I could pay to have people come and look at the property and check that everything was all right. Now, as you can imagine, that meant I did not have the most comprehensive checks done on the property as I could. And as I alluded to earlier, I suffered as a result. So because I got the cheapest type, and there are 3 types that you can get, that meant that I wasn't aware of the very outdated, very old electrical wiring through the property. I wasn't aware of the state of the boiler in that it was on its last legs. So when I got the keys, within a month, I started to see problems occur. My boiler broke, the electrics, there was problems happening with the lighting, and I had to get someone in and pay £3,000 within the first month, on top of just having paid, solicitors and my deposit and shelling out a load of money to get myself into the property. So at this point, I would urge you to get a home buyer's report done, at least. Level 2 in the options you could get. And make sure that you've got someone external, an expert, checking things that you will not know. You're not an expert in this area. And I've said it before, if you're not an expert in the area, pay somebody else to do it for you and avoid you having to pay £6,000 a month later. Now, the final tip, which I think is quite a cool one, and I remember I can't remember who said this, I think it was an auntie at the time. When you're looking to buy a property, go back and visit the property or visit the area because you're unlikely to be able to go into the home. But visit at night time. Visit on a Friday night, a Saturday night, midweek, evening, and see what's happening in the area at those hours. Is there a lot of nuisance? Are there, undesirables hanging around the property that maybe would make you feel unsafe or wouldn't be suitable in your eyes for the kind of environment you want to live in? Consider different times of the day, different environments where you can check out the property and make sure it is suitable for you. Now, I hope you found that useful, and of course, I will share some links below that you can go and check out and read up on some of the bits that I mentioned today. But let me know if that helps on you buying your first property.